Okay, we are live, and I mean, I gotta say, it's been an interesting week. I did watch The Young and the Restless for tomorrow, and I gotta say, it was pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly, because sometimes you have those highs and lows when it comes to Y&R. You get an episode that's like off the charts, and then you get the next episode, it's like, you know what I mean?
I saw a little bit of it, like first 2 minutes with Adam and Kyle. I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. They put those two together in a scene. It's been a long while since they did that.
Yeah,
I'm
that
excited
particular
for it.
scene. Hey, Myra. That particular scene for Kyle and Adam, they had up and down moments. They had a little bit of passive aggressiveness, and then there were moments that they understood each other. And then there's an interesting scene where Adam kind of leaks some tea to Jack
Oh, but to try to help him out?
with the glissade, what Victor is up to, and with his son. I was like, I guess you don't care, do you? I mean, he did tell Victor that, you know what, I'm not finna do anything that's gonna hurt Jack. I'm sorry. Remember, he put that on notice, but in my opinion, I don't think Victor cares whether Adam put him on notice or not, because he'll find another way to get to Jack either way it go. Because I mean, he's coming after Chancellor, and he's coming after Jabot at the same time. Hey, Run Julian.
Hey. And I found it interesting how he's trying to go after Billy. That was very random because they haven't had any interaction in a long while. So for Victor just to go from Jack to Billy, it's like he's trying to attack all the Abbots.
Well, is the one that's standing in the way of Chancellor. He wants Chancellor so he can give it to his wife, and Billy is the main component. If Billy walked away, now all he has to do is to figure out, what they're gonna do with Lily. But the problem is Billy is in the way of getting the Chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But
How many
I think
people
it's.
we got in here, Bree? Can you see?
Let me see. I'm refreshing it. We almost got 15 people. It usually takes a couple of minutes from the
Okay.
YouTube side.
All right. Hey, Melissa. She said I didn't receive my notification. I just found you by accident. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Really? Okay. What's going on, YouTube?
yeah. I had to come out and come back in it from my side.
Oh
But it's
wow.
still their life. Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube is doing something.
It has its moments. Have we gotten up to at least 20 yet?
Check in now. Almost there.
Okay. All right. Usually when I hit 20, then I just start, kicking off everything. But I'm hoping. Did I get the notification? Because I'm not logged into that account. Uh-oh. Let me see. No. Okay. I guess not. Myra
Um,
said her too.
mm,
So you didn't
we're
get a
at 20 now.
notification either?
I'm looking at my notifications. I didn't see it either. We got 20 in there. They're
Okay.
still coming in. They
Okay.
know it's midweek. They know it's
Well, they
midweek.
probably been checking. Maybe because some people are probably getting them and some people are not. Hey, Darlene. Oh, thank you. She says she's new to the channel and she really enjoyed the live chats. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Melinda. For the people that's already here, did any of you get a YouTube notification? If you did, put a 1 in the chat. If you did not, put a 2 in the chat. I'm kind of curious to see who got what. 1 in the chat if you got a YouTube notification about this live. A 2 in the chat if you did not. You just happened to say, hey, Soap Corner Talk is on live. Okay, so let me see what people are going to say. Because I'm curious. Because I'm also, I remember in some cases, okay, Darlene got a 1. Who else? Melinda. I was on YouTube watching DNC and started looking. Okay, Peggy got a notification. Rednecks got a. Okay, so it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of you folks got it and some didn't. That's interesting. Make sure when go take a look at the fact. Number one, it should say that you subscribe, and then you should have it put to receive all notifications. Because sometimes YouTube will reset that. I've had it happen on channels that I follow. I'm like, dang, I haven't been getting the videos, and come to find out, when I was having them switch to get all notifications, they switched me off somehow. So I don't know. Sometimes we get delayed notifications. Oh my goodness. Well, that's technology for you.
I was about to blame CBS production. They don't want us to talk about it. They don't want us to talk about Bold or Wyatt.
Right. Maybe it was Hope. She didn't want us to talk about her today. Okay. So we're gonna Steffi. Or Steffi, right. Okay, so how many we got in the chat now?
Now we're almost 30.
Okay.
So coming in.
Okay. Hey Allison. When did y'all start? We haven't really started yet. We were just talking about who got notifications, and okay, Melissa says she got it for the recaps. But you didn't get it for the live? Okay, that's interesting. Okay. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk. This is the midweek chat with myself, T. And, of course, we got Bree on the line as well.
Hey, everybody.
Yes. So we got to talk about what happened in the last couple days. You know what, Bree? Does it seem to you on Wednesdays are the best episodes for some reason? You would think the Wednesday episode would be the Friday episode.
Yeah, it's cliffhanger or confusion Wednesday. That's what it's been. But we haven't had a real cliffhanger Friday in a long while, except for last week with On Bold.
Right. I agree. So, yeah, we had Lily getting a pink slip and looked like Finn might be getting kicked to the curb. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I've been hearing a lot of rumors coming on this whole thing about whether Steffi's leaving town or whatever. I don't know. But I can't substantiate any of that, you guys. But I know I've been hearing all types of stuff. So, I tend to like to, get concrete information before just, saying things. I know I speculate on the storylines and I'll call it a speculation. But stuff like that on whether folks are coming, going, leaving, unless we got something, written in hard stone, then, I usually bring it up. So, all right. So, yeah, we got to talk a little bit about a couple things on Y&R. And then, of course, we got to talk about the craziness over at Bold, too. So, all right. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with Y&R. So, we did have a few things. We had this back and forth between Summer and Audra. We also had Victor being the strategist and playing chess with everybody. We got Lily getting fired, and then we saw a little bit of Kyle and Claire on, I guess, if you want to call it a date. What'd you think about Kyle and Claire, Bree?
This is so awkward to watch those two. Because it's like she wants to be a woman one minute, and then she wants to be a little girl the next. And I was surprised. He was like, "Oh, why don't you come look at the houses?" I'm like, Summer's not gonna like that at all.
I know.
You gotta have this girl pick out your house for you. You can't pick out your own house. And then she said that the houses are similar to where he's at right now. She's like, maybe you don't want to leave. Mm-hmm. But I thought they have cute interactions, but nothing romantic, if that makes sense.
But you know why? Because she's acting timid and shy and demure. That's the thing. Kyle, I mean, he's no Thomas Forrester or even an Adam Newman when it comes to the swag. You know what I mean? When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to, trying to connect with someone intimately. But I think with this coupling, she's kind of dragging it out because he asked her, "Do you want to go?" Yes. No. I'm busy. I don't know. Then I'm not busy. I'm supposed to hang out with my little sister, but then I don't have to. That's not. I'm like, girl, just say yes.
Right. It's not that serious, and plus, I'm pretty sure Katie don't want to be around you anyway. So, so you're freeing her up to do what she wants to do. But I agree with you as far as like the swag part. I feel he had a little bit of it when he
Right.
was getting with Audra.
Right. Just a little. That's what I'm saying. He's not like Thomas was with Hope, or you know Mark Grossman and being Adam Newman over the years as well. But he got a little something. But I think,
Mm-hmm.
Bree, the Claire that we saw in the beginning that was suited up, trying to flirt with Nate, that Claire could have, if she had that same energy, I could see it.
Yes.
Hmm.
And maybe they're going to like pull from that, especially since, they've heard us complain. They listen to the podcast. They can kind of revert back to that because she's very childlike, and
Hmm.
it's just awkward to kind of watch those two because I'm like, okay, it's good for her that she has a crush. She's going on these little dates, and she has a guy who's giving her his time and attention. But it's just very girl like. I feel like I'm looking at a teenager going on her first date or something.
Well, I mean, okay, so a lot of this is predicated on that piece of dialogue that Victoria said that because she was in this bubble living with Aunt Jordan, she never been in any type of intimate relationship. So, you have like Luna, she probably had boyfriends in high school. If we just wanted to, not the storyline we have now, the one she came on the show with. She might have had boyfriends in high school, but she didn't cross the threshold when she so called, quote unquote, gave up her V car, right? This
Mm-hmm.
girl had no interaction, it seemed, with boys, period.
And I'm like, you got a college degree, girl.
Right. I
How,
mean,
how did you not interact with men on a college campus unless you went online? Did she go to DeVry and get her degree?
you so funny. Girl, listen, I'm wondering, but see, that's why the dialogue don't match up because Victoria was saying that she never, ever, 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 right? Period. Not just maybe had a cute boy crush and, maybe had ice cream dates in high school. It was nothing. She never had any interaction. But at the same time, we remember her coming onto the show with a college degree. So you would think with her, unless she was not on campus, she should have had some sort of interaction in college for 4 years.
Yes. Like gone to even if she didn't go to any parties, she was in classrooms
Right.
and or where she could interact with other peers. So I'm like, how does she never had a crush, never been around a guy, never did this? I'm like, but she was woman enough when she saw Nate and wanted to ask him out for a drink. I'm confused.
Yeah, tell me about it. See, that's what I'm talking about. So I don't know if you guys. I did a standalone video yesterday in regards to the crazy storylines on Bold, and I also did a video about a week ago on Y&R. This is one of the reasons why I did those videos because it's the inconsistencies. You just brought it up, Bree. This is the same girl that felt confident enough to ask Nate Hastings out for coffee.
No, for a drink,
For a
an
drink,
alcohol
right.
drink.
For a
And she
drink.
don't drink apparently with Kyle.
Exactly. So that's the switch in that whole storyline.
That makes zero. This a lot of inconsistencies on both shows, but
Mm-hmm.
with her character particularly, it's like they don't know how to. I don't say don't know how to write her. It's just what direction can you go in with her? Because the way they're writing her now, they have her in a box
Right. They gotta
as a
let her
child.
blossom. I get it that you guys want us to think that she's sheltered and she never had a life outside of Jordan, but that does not match what she came to the show with. And then you aged her backwards.
Yeah, and she's a little too. I hate to say it, she's a little too old to be boxed in like this. She should be. How is it Summer is more of a woman than Claire is?
Right.
And Claire is technically supposed to be older than Summer.
Correct.
So I'm very confused. And when you see the scenes with Claire, Summer, and Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
Claire looks like a little scared little girl when she sees grown people fight.
Yeah, because she stands off in the corner and she's looking like she's like, oh my God. And I'm thinking to myself, you've seen Jordan do some of the most horrific things, including you. And I used to always talk about this last fall, putting a whole needle in Nikki's neck. And you
Yeah.
freaked out about an argument between these two?
Yes, exactly. She was inconsistency. So she had no problem carrying out almost unaliving her immediate family, including her mother. But two parents arguing about their child, she can't handle that. That is just so weird. What are they doing with this girl?
Yeah. Look at that. That's the perfect word, Cheryl. She said they retro sorod her. I've never heard of that, but that's a good way to put it.
So is Katie the bigger sister now? Like how? What are they doing with
Listen,
this
girl,
girl?
listen how outspoken Katie is. Katie is more courageous, I'll just say it like that, than she is.
I agree. So is Lucy.
Yep.
Lucy wants to be more of a woman than Claire does.
That is true.
That is just like weird inconsistencies on this show.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like they don't know the direction to go in with certain characters, and it shows, especially in the dialogue, how they interact with certain people. And we're like, it's one thing to not, want to drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, but when we first met her, she had no problem asking a gorgeous man out for a drink.
Right.
I'm confused.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they are going to put her with Kyle, you guys got to give her a little bit more oomph. I'm sorry, she cannot stay in this state of demure, childlike, timid, because that's not what she came to the show with. She was a whole different. It seemed like I'm looking at a whole different person.
Yes, and bad outfits too.
And I got to give it to Haley Aaron because of the fact that she acted bold in the beginning and childlike now, so she's doing her job.
Absolutely, and we just want more for her because because I keep hearing she's such a talented actress, and the thing is, she has edgy style outside of the show, and this woman as a mom of two.
Right.
What I was surprised by. So, like,
give her
why
something.
Yeah, let her be a woman for once and not have her mother try to fight her battles like Hope.
I need them to put some fire up again. If they want to make this a whole triangle, which they probably could, if they put a little bit more edge to her, to not just over the top, but just a little bit more edge and bring her up to age 26, and put her in a relationship with Kyle, and she tell her cousin where to get off, I would be okay with that.
Yes, and it's not too late for that.
Nope. So, yeah, but tomorrow's episode, the reason he claimed he brought Claire to look at houses because he needed her to feel comfortable since she's going to be working there with his son.
That's interesting. What does it matter if she's a paid employee? She's not living there with you.
Exactly.
To make sure she feels comfortable, why don't you make sure your son feels comfortable?
Yeah, why not take your son and look at, well, I mean, they were picking him out on paper, but yeah, it's about you and your son feeling comfortable because Claire, if Victor talk her into it, or even Nikki, she might just jump ship and go work over at Chancellor with her grandmother. Then what?
Which would be the best move for that character? I'm my fingers crossed for that, because for her to be Harrison's nanny and her employer is trying to make sure she feels comfortable in his home and having her pick out a house, who does that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. We got to keep it moving. The other conversations that I think we need to talk about is still talking about Kyle, but his ex and his business partner. That whole interaction, I mean, Audra gave as good as Summer tried to give her, because Audra was like, I don't want to be a problem unless you want to make me one.
I was like, yes, I love that. Love that.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, she want me to be. Did I say that right? Did she make me one, or did she want me to be?
Unless you want me to be. Right. I think that's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Which, either which way, needed to be said. And I was so happy that Audra gave it to her, because if it was me and if it was Audra's place, don't put me in your business. I don't have anything to do with what you guys have going on. And it's also legal too. Like, no, get me out of it. I have nothing to do with what you guys have going on. I don't know what your insecurity is. And then the look on Summer's face, she was like, you told Audra about everything? Like, what do you think that man was supposed to do?
Right.
You're saying that she's the problem. So he went to go to the problem, see what the problem was about.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. And the fact that Chance is still dealing with her, because, I mean, to me, it's not even about her son. Her son has never been around Audra. Audra has zero interest in being around Harrison. So I don't understand. It's one thing if Summer said, Audra, stay away from my son. And she like, okay, cool. You good? I'm good. I don't need to be around your son. I have no interest in being around your son. But she's trying to use Audra as a cover for something else, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that conversation she had with Kyle, he was really trying to just be plain and simple with her. Like, look, what is your issue with her? Like, this is a work decision. And he also kind of hinted that he can't get out of that decision. He would like to try to work by himself. I'm glad he said that. Mm-hmm. But he was like, look, what is your issue with her? Mm-hmm. Everything I deal with her is just for work. So what is your issue with her? She's like, I just don't trust her. Like the way she played you, that has to do with him, not you.
Exactly.
The way that she maneuvers and the things that she did with Tucker. Once again, none of those things have to do with her. She can't come with a good reason whatsoever. Nothing.
The only thing I can think of is the fact, I mean, even Kyle said, I don't even want to be working with this girl. And then he was like, can we just keep it civil? Can we just go back to where it was? It's hurting our son. You know, all of this stuff. And then she said, I'll think about it. I'm like, what do you got to think about, Summer?
And he even said that.
What? I mean, what do you got to think about? Is it just now you're at the point where you just don't want to back down and say, I conceded? I mean, I don't get it. And like I said, I don't see how Chance is even dealing with this. I'm like, if I was him, I'd be like, you want him back or something? Why are you all in this man's business?
Are they even in a relationship still?
Girl, they had a couple of dates. Remember they were at Society or something? Was that Monday or Tuesday, I think? I don't know. Maybe it was Monday. I don't think it was yesterday.
They're not even operating like a real couple. And anytime she has interaction with him, she's talking about her ex-husband. Like her new man needs to hear all of that.
Yeah, that was Monday because that's the same day that Chance found out that Billy had just told him that he was going to fire Lily. That was Monday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So and then Summer showed up after Billy was leaving.
Even still, he's like, but every conversation she has with Chance is about Kyle. That's why it's hard for me to take them as a couple. And they don't even invest in like the love scenes with those two. It's like they kiss and then the next scene they finished already. Like they might as well just move him along with Lily, which I'm thinking that's the direction they're going to go in, and I'm happy for it. Because she needs to kind of come to grips that she wants her ex-husband back.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and I saw this with Summer. We saw it happen one more time. We also saw this happen with Audra. Every time somebody give them the truth, it's always taking the other side. So Nate had a conversation with Audra about, this whole thing with Victor. Oh, you're taking Kyle's side. I'm like, why is it when, they're being told something that they don't like to hear, even though it's the truth, it's taking the other person's side?
It's like they can't form their own opinion about the situation that they're telling them about. Like, if he doesn't agree with you, agree to disagree. Like, I don't understand why some of the women on the show get very into their feelings as if, like, oh my God, they're not taking up for me. They're not sticking up for me. Like, how can they do that? Let these people form their other opinions. Like, you're still going to do what you want to do anyway. I mean, they're just showing you something, a different perspective. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. And, I mean, it's like, tell me what I want to hear and agree with me. Otherwise, you're against me.
Lily's the same way, too.
Yes.
Like most of the women on the show, Nikki as well. Like, I don't get that. Like, why does people have to agree with you? And how can they be against you and not for you by telling the truth?
Yep. Speaking of your girl, Lily, there's probably 10% of me that actually feel sorry. The other 90%, no.
What consists of that 10%?
Well, I mean, just the fact that I just hate that she turned on her brother and, it blew up in her face. It's like, dang, girl, really? I mean, you had to see this coming. But the other 90% is you turned on your brother. To stay with Billy.
You know what gets me? She turned on her family to go work at Chancellor. And when she sat down with Nikki and she said her reasoning for wanting to stay at Chancellor, she said, well, Jill is my children's grandmother, and Catherine is my brother's grandmother, and that's what's important to me. So you don't feel any sort of family connection over to Winters?
Right.
That was mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I caught that. I'm glad you brought that up, Bree.
Like, I'm confused. She has no family connection whatsoever to Chancellor. Her children are not even really related to Jill. At all. And plus, Devon's connections is probably more prominent than hers because, yeah, like she said, he's an actual Chancellor heir. Right. What is she?
She's just a mobile employee. Because, I mean, even if if and when, I should say, Victor take over Chancellor, she's still going to be an employee.
Exactly, because Nikki's not going to give up her position, and Victor's not going to let her.
Nope.
So what is she going to do?
Exactly.
And that's the bone I had to pick with Audra, too, early this week. They all want to get one over on Victor, and it's like they don't know any better. But anyway, with Lily, she doesn't want to work with her own family that she has ties to. And I think her reasoning excuse was like, oh, well, that's Devon's thing. Like Chancellor's my baby. No. There's been other people who wore that same hat as you did. You're just in it now. Well, not anymore. But at that time, she held that position for a certain period of time. But before that, there was other people running that company. It's not her baby. It's not something she started from start to finish. It's not like brash and sassy like what Victoria did. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. You got hired. Jill hired you, ma'am. You did not build that company from the ground up 20, 30, 40 years ago. You got this position because Jill hired you.
Yes.
Yep.
And I don't understand why all of a sudden she doesn't want to work with Devon and Nate, but she feels such a strong pull to Jill and Catherine all of a sudden. That makes no sense. But I can tell you one thing is not reciprocated on Jill's part, because if she felt that Lily was a better choice over Billy, wouldn't she give her that control that Billy has?
Good point. Good point. I mean, if you had an option to give all of your power to Billy or to Lily, and you gave it to Billy, well, part of it is genetics, because you're trying to keep the bloodline money going, you know what I mean? And the other part is the fact that she could have gave it to Lily, but she didn't. She didn't. So how much she need to sit back and think, why did Jill truly not entrust me with her powers?
Exactly. But she is taking such a strong stance for Jill. She chose Jill over her brother and her cousin and her family company. She's a Winters. At the end of the day, why don't you go work for your family so you have to worry about like someone firing you from a job?
Right.
I don't get that. And Jill chose her family, which was Billy, whether he was suitable or not. Lily can argue that all day. She still chose her family and not her. So she doesn't see her as family like that.
Right. Because if she was really that deep in the mud with you, meaning Lily, she could have been like, you know what, Lily, you know, I'm sick and whatever. I want this company in your hands. I know I could give it to Billy, but I don't know if I'm sure or not that he can handle this. Nope, she didn't do that. She gave it to her son.
Yeah, and she stood by that. And I think sometime last week, Bill was like, "Look, you can call my mom. She doesn't want me to step down. She doesn't want me to hide behind the scenes and let you shine." Like Jill is still having her say and saying, like, "Look, I want my son to still run the show." So if she has issues, she needed to go to Jill.
Right.
Instead of just crying to Billy, like, for what? He has the control because his mother gave it to him, not you.
So, what do you think about the fact that she's going to fight this? With what? How does she expect to fight this unless she goes to Jill and cry crocodile tears saying that Billy fired her? I mean, what else does she have in her arsenal that she can fight Billy on this? He's already saying, I'm finna cash you out.
She better off just getting that check and going to work for her brother or
start her own business or something. I don't know.
Right. That's the step that she needs to take. And I think I said something in a group chat about her going to go ahead and work for Jabot because she already worked there before. Beauty industry is more her lane. And, you know, she can be an asset, especially since Diane is short-handed a co-CEO. You know, it would benefit her. But
a COO?
Or COO, more than what she's about to get working underneath Nikki.
Right, she finna get to the unemployment line. You know?
Exactly. And unless she trashes Chancellor, I can't see what all she could do, because at the end of the day, she doesn't have the pockets to up and buy the company or try to maneuver things around like Victor does. Yeah. Unless she wants to kiss his butt, same way her brother's kissing his butt.
So TA says, yes, Lily is Delulu, thinking she's a chancellor all this time.
Mm-mm.
You're not a chancellor, ma'am.
Just because she was married to Kane and even he wasn't a real chancellor doesn't make her part of that family. Now they love her, they think of her as family to some extent, but not enough to hand her reins and it's like a family company. They said you can collect your check, your salary, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know what Lily thinks she's going to do. Now, V.E. Carter said Victor equals who Lily will go to. And that's probably what she's going to end up doing, going to Mr. Newman.
And that's not going to do her any good because she's going to end up working for Victor or owing a favor to Victor. Ask Audra.
Yeah, which Nate was trying to warn her about too. You know, my thing is she could save herself all the aggravation and just get the French toast out of Dodge, take that check, because obviously it seemed like she got a contract with a huge dollar sign on it if they buy her out. Take that wad of cash and go about your business.
Right. Because she doesn't want to be mixed up with Victor. She, of all people, should know better. Especially her daddy has been working with Victor for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's mind-boggling to me for both Lily and Devon. Seeing how how Victor treated their own daddy.
Vicky says, and I did notice that Nate turned down Audra for sex. He had to go back to work, and Audra went upstairs. Yeah, because she was like, you want to come up for a nightcap? He was like, yeah, I'm going to go to work. I was surprised by that, but I guess work is important, Nate.
Because she keeps putting him in the friend zone and he doesn't like it. Mm-hmm. She's been straight with this man, and I knew this was going to happen. She doesn't want to be tied down or committed. He can't force anything like that to happen. But I think just the fact that she is putting all this effort into working underneath Victor, I think that's a turnoff for that guy. He was like, nah, I don't want to deal with that. And plus, you don't want to give me time and attention. Nah, don't worry, I don't want to deal with that.
I can't believe that both Lily and Audra are both delusional enough to think that they can be 10 steps ahead of Victor. I could see if they can say, I'll outsmart Jack. Or, you know, then I would be like, yeah, maybe so, right? But you're talking about Victor. I don't know. Unless they rewrite something where Audra and Lily really pull a rabbit out of a hat and said, gotcha, I can't see that happen.
No, they need to work together. And that's something I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. I would love to see Audra and Lily work together. Like I can see Lily going over in Kyle's place and working over at Glissade. But I don't know. Like I said, that's just my personal prediction, what I like to see. But Audra is the biggest fool of them all. She had a whole company to herself that would have been handed over without any strings from Tucker. But she's so busy trying to get one up over on one man, getting up underneath this other man, and now working for Victor.
Yeah. Stupid. Something interesting that I caught in tomorrow's episode, when there was a conversation between Adam and Kyle kind of was, Adam was singing Audra's praises a little bit. Talking about her working with Kyle is like taking a step backwards because of how great of a businesswoman she is. And so I'm like, hope y'all been listening to the podcast over the last year, Josh Griffith, because we would love to see a Adam and Audra. I've been talking about this since 2022. So I don't know. Because Chelsea spilled the beans to Billy, and he don't look like he mad, and he shouldn't be after he cheated with Lily to get to her. So I might give him a gold star this week for the one person on both shows who's not being a hypocrite. But I don't know if that would bring. I think that's going to keep him and Billy together. Billy probably is going to get over it because she couldn't take it no more. She spilled the beans. Um.
Mm.
However, Sally, I don't know if she's going to give Adam that same grace. And if he becomes a free man, I would love to see him with Audra.
I'm surprised to hear that because I'm like, the last interaction we saw them have was at that bar and he couldn't stand her because they were in competition with each other. So I'm like, how did he know all of her work ethic unless he's been keeping tabs on her?
I don't
Like,
know, but I like the way he was saying it because he was using that as a way to throw darts at Kyle by putting her on a pedestal and said that her working with him was a step backwards. So, but I mean, he threw shade at Kyle when the two of them were dating. Remember calling him a puppy dog or something? I forgot what it was at that time. And when it was at the bar at Neil's Lounge, and it was
yeah,
him, Audra, and Kyle, Audra, and Adam. And I mean, Audra had the look of ooh, like she was kind of turned
yeah,
on by the fact that that Adam was cutting up Kyle.
yeah. I'd be very happy to see that connection. They would be really hot together. So,
Girl, could you imagine? Like I said earlier about Kyle ain't no Adam Newman or Thomas Forrester.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So putting Adam with somebody as feisty as Audra, girl, please.
And that's going to drive Chelsea and Sally crazy. Could you imagine? Because Sally and Audra are friends.
I know that. Hey, listen, writers, we giving y'all some dialogue. Think about it. It might not be tomorrow. I know y'all like 4 to 6 weeks ahead. November
But
sleeps.
I mean, spice it up a little bit. We were here for that. I would love to see Sally because everyone keeps warning her, Sally, about Audra, and that would be really telling right there.
Yeah, that would eat her up because of the fact that he just already cheated with his ex, Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn around if Chelsea, and Billy stay together and they break up, Adam's a free man. And he goes over to Audra. Girl.
That'd be hot, spicy, as long as they don't fail us and not give us a love scene, but has a lot of potential.
Listen, I mean, Zalika Silva know how to do a love scene, and so does Mark Grossman. That's almost the equivalency of putting Annika and Matt Atkinson together.
We need to put a petition together. We need love scenes. I don't know what we need to do, but yeah, they don't put them together for us not to see a hot love scene. That's all I'm saying.
Don't give us they fall on the bed, we go to commercial and then come back and they sitting up with a blanket on top of them. Come on now.
Like, boo. We don't want to see
that.
that.
Cheryl Hines says, I think Audra will fall hard for Adam. Absolutely. Because he's a dark personality type. And Audra has been working with people simping over her.
I'm surprised if she ever even got with Noah. Like, what did she see in Noah?
Girl, who knows, girl? From many moons ago.
Well, she has experience being with the Newman, so she can get with Victor Adam Newman. Girl, she better get writers. Listen to us. We're trying to help you out.
Girl, I'm telling you, because they both now working for the same team. I mean, because she's the leader of Glissade, and he's been pushing Glissade you'll see it in tomorrow's episode where he's really been putting Glissade on the map with the coverage, like Victor told him to do. And if she happened to stop by his office and be like, you know what, I like what you've been doing, boosting up my company, and they throw some connection up in there, shoot, girl, it would be fire. Listen, I've been trying to get this for 2 years.
Yeah, because they did nothing with Nate and Audra.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going
So
to continue that direction.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you think about Victor trying to exploit Jill's illness to get the company, get Chancellor?
I would say I should be surprised, but I'm not. This
Mm-hmm.
man is on a rampage to just get what he wants. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about Jill whatsoever. I don't
Nope.
think he even cares about anybody but himself. This is the same man who had Jordan in a dungeon. He was taking in all the smells. He does not care whatsoever when it comes to his end goal.
Right.
So if he's just trying to make ends meet, he gonna use Jill to do that.
And then that conversation he had with Billy talking about, I'm going to need all these rumors to stop that I'm coming after Chancellor. I'm like, oh, really, Victor? You going to play in this man's face? And Billy is looking at him like, I know he's not playing in my face.
Mm-mm-mm.
He said that to a bold-faced lie.
And the thing is, people should be very smart, or at least should know how Victor operates by now, especially Jack, of all people. Mm-hmm. And at least his wife was like, look, we need to tap in and think kind of like how Victor does. He's like, yeah, I guess. What do you mean you guess?
Exactly. Bree, that's why I said earlier, if it was Audra and Lily saying that, we're going to get 10 steps in front of Jack, I'd be like, yeah, you probably could. Because that's how he thinks. Diane had to push him into this. Now, he does get to, get the ball rolling tomorrow. But, I mean, he should have, that's the thing. I think he got a lot more emotion than Victor does. Victor is cold and calculating.
Mm-hmm. And at least Diane had the right mindset. Like, look, we need to think more like him and think 10 steps of him. And the thing is, Jack has the same type of money Victor does.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I don't know why he wants to be passive in all of this. And if he really wanted to get some information about Lasad, like he could have asked Adam, he could have asked Nikki if they're still on good terms. Like he could even try to finesse Claire. And they are listening to the podcast, because I'm surprised that even Victor and Nikki were using the word finesse when it came to Lily. It was like, interesting.
Yeah, well, he will talk to Adam, like I was telling you earlier. That's going to be a very interesting conversation. I got to tell you, if Victor had saw or even heard the highlights of that conversation, Adam would be done. Yep. In my opinion. Yep.
And then who would take over Newman Media? But at the same time, didn't he say that he can run the show however he wants to?
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume he would have a certain contract that keeps him in place.
Yep. So.
Oh well.
Yeah. All right. We got to switch. We got to talk about Bold. But before we do, how many people in this chat?
We got 95 people.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice, you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. And from what I gather from the beginning of the show and some of the comments, you guys weren't getting notifications. So just take a moment, double check even after the show. To see if you have that bell turned to receive all notifications. So I know sometimes we'll mark it at first and then YouTube does updates and it'll throw you back to the default. So just double check so you can make sure you get all of the notifications. Let me ask a question before I go on the Bold, since it's 90 of you all. Like I said earlier, I did a standalone video for Young and the Restless last week about the storylines from this past, I would say, year. And then I did a standalone video about The Bold and the Beautiful and its storylines. How many of you guys really enjoyed the standalone videos outside of the spoilers, the recaps, and all that stuff. So drop a 1 in the chat if you really, really would like to see more of the standalone videos, or drop a 2 and just like, okay, either way is fine. So let me know who likes those standalone videos.
Melissa.
What's she say? What's she say?
She said Audra has more men than a dog has fleas, and she always has an itch to scratch. She's best to be careful, and or she might catch something, and I don't mean that husband.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the story of her life.
I know, right? Okay, there we
nice.
go. So you guys like the standalone videos? Because, I mean, my channel has been on this. I mean, I've done the podcast since 2019 with Keisha and I. You guys know the history. The YouTube side of the world just came into play a little over 2 years ago. So it's an ever-changing and evolving thing. So I'm trying to, I try to keep my eyes to what you guys are saying in the comments, because when I posted that yesterday, I got a lot of comments. Oh my God, I love the standalone videos. And so it's a little bit different than the recaps. The recaps, though, we kind of talking about what happened that particular day and all that. But the standalones are separate little nuanced videos to talk about things that maybe we don't like, we wish we could see, things like that. So great. I'm glad you guys enjoy those. So I'm going to have to do more of those. I might do a little bit of a switcheroo on some things. We'll see. I don't want to touch bold because you guys, I must have more bold fans on this channel. Because bold is just like, every time, it's always something. Young and the Restless is a little bit different, so I gotta do some, some homework on seeing what else I could do, with Y&R. Belinda says, I like the standalone podcast. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's talk bowl. So the beginning of the week on Monday, we came off of the bottom of the soap world on bowl, falling out on Friday. Yes, we came back off of that whole thing where we saw Luna kissing Bill. And Bill was like, don't do that no more. But you can stay here. I'm like, girl.
He said a lot of stupid things. That was probably one of the dumbest things. That's the most dumbest thing he's ever said. This woman's trying to now push up on you, and you know this. And then she did a whole complete switcheroo about her mother. She's like, well, maybe my mom did do this. And then he's like, well, I'm going to look out for you. I'm going to do this. Like, this woman just kissed you. And in the same breath, it's like she's talking about the kiss. And then in the next sentence, like, oh, well, you're not my dad. You're not my dad. I'm like, that is creepy. That is just weird. The fact that she can just transition from calling him her dad to wanting him to be her zaddy, I'm confused.
Yeah, that was weird to me. I was saying that on Friday. I mean, all this time you were dad this, dad this. What are you going to do, dad? You can't let them take my mom. And then the moment you find out that DNA test was not him not being your father, then you go to this mode. I mean, in order for you to do that, you had to have some feelings prior to 2 minutes ago.
I would even say, as soon as her mother was arrested, she didn't even inch to go to the jail, check on her mother, nothing. Same with Bill. They both just sat in that house and trying to, quote unquote, comfort each other. I'm confused. Like, if she felt that her mother didn't do it, she would be crying. She'd be like, call your lawyers, do this, or whatever. She stayed in the house.
Yeah, you see what Vicky wrote?
Oh, hold on, let me see. What did Vicky say? Stupid.
You're not my dad. You want to make out? Oh, my God. That whole thing was just insane.
And then she felt that that was normal. And I was mad at Bill's reaction too. Like, he should be more upset. And he was like trying to still like comfort this girl. Like, I know this is just like weird times. I know that you weren't expecting this, and you know, it's okay. You just can't do that again.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cece says, "Are we forgetting that this girl is supposed to be in her early 20s?" And she said, "This is gross."
I mean, I understand like the age thing, but I'm like, they're in California. There's 6-year-old men with 20-year-old girls. I mean, it's as long as they're consenting, that is what it is. It's the creepy part for me is the fact that she's still calling this man her daddy, or even remotely putting daddy and him in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just kissed this man.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm so, like, we just found out I'm not your daughter. You're not my dad. Like, why are you still saying that?
Well, this is what goes back to my standalone video yesterday is, and the title of the section of of the video, which she was the focal point, was Luna was lost in the sauce. Because this whole thing has been a crapshoot way back in January all the way up to now, with the inconsistencies, not just with her paternity, her coming on as this virtuous girl who's a virgin, and you know, she don't do all these things, and then you're gonna make us believe that she could just switch like that and try to come on to a man that was her dad at some point in her head.
And on top of that, he introduced her to his other children. Liam was still calling her his sister. Will was still trying to wrap his mind around having a sister. And she was talking about she had nieces and nephews and this and that. And all of a sudden, she was quick to drop that after that DNA test. Mm-hmm. Not even 5 minutes, and kissed this man. I don't think she ever thought this man was really her dad. I think she was just trying to fill that void in her life.
Yeah.
I don't think that she trusted those results. Or maybe she didn't trust them after she read those letters from Tom. Something shifted with her.
This whole thing shifted because I mean, and I don't. If you guys haven't seen, and I'm assuming you have, with all the ones that I saw in the chat, you must have saw the video that I did yesterday. But to go from where it's just this whole, they don't know what to do with these folks in this storyline. We actually remember, you guys, was that in the group chat maybe, that, or maybe we said this on live on Friday, that we never see Finn in the storyline lately with the Nazawas, with the other Nazawas, his other family members.
Mm-hmm. I was going to touch on that too.
Yeah, did you find it interesting that Steffi brought it up, that your aunt is in prison right now? Did you hear that today?
Yep. And he was like, that has nothing to do with this. I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that next. But it was just interesting that, yeah, the storylines is just, it's just all over the place.
They've given us like how many different potential fathers for this girl?
Well,
just based off of like how they pivoted the story.
4.
Yes.
So we had the possibility of Bill, which we now know. But see, here's my problem with this. Which one of these tests were right? You can have false negatives and you can have false positives. This is why a blood test, which is what you have been asking for, should have been done. Because who's to say Lee's test, because Lee conducted the test, they're not going to be sitting up here, because I know what I saw back in June about the fact that Lee did that test. That test came positive. The one Bill did became negative. So do we have a false negative or a false positive? Because nobody tampered with either two of these tests.
unless we magically get a scene later down the line, seeing either Luna messing with the test when people weren't looking.
But girl, did you
That
go?
episode was clear as day.
Yeah, the episode is clear as day. So for those that, and I kind of mentioned it yesterday, it's the episode from June 3rd, 4th, and 5th of this year. They are clearly standing at least 3 to 4 feet away from Lee conducting the entire test. All three of them with their arms folded, standing in front of the fireplace, waiting to see what Lee's doing and to get the results. Lee gave her whole testimony on how she met Bill and how Bill saved her life. And then the alarm goes off and she reads the test on June 4th. On June 5th, she told them that Bill was her father. So unless they go back and add some crap in there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I watched that yesterday before I did the standalone. I'm like, let me just make sure that there could be something different that we missed or something. But yeah, so that's why I'm like, is this a false positive or a false negative? But the only way to really determine any of this for sure is to carry your butt to the hospital.
Yes, he was just there thankingly. He has access to go to the hospital. It wouldn't take nothing for him to call Lee and say, hey, we need to do a blood DNA test, such and such happened, and it would be nothing. Literally nothing.
Okay.
He did a blood test with all his other children.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why was this any different? Why did they write it to have them do like this
box
type
test.
Of testing?
Right. And he got access to doctors. He could easily go back to Lee and say, look, I know I just conducted another test. And maybe we haven't seen Bill go tell Lee and Poppy yet. I don't know what's going to happen to the week of the 26th. Was that the 26th? Wait a minute, 23rd? Yeah, 26th through the 30th. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll look at this and say, hey, I did the test, it was positive. You did the test, it was negative. Let's do a blood test so we can get a final answer.
Right. But the way that girl kissed that man, it's like they solidified that he is not the father. That's what they were really trying to tell the audience.
Exactly.
So I don't know. What are they doing with this girl? Or with this whole storyline?
Bree, you and I talked about this in this group chat, or maybe it was all of us, that with them doing her in this manner, it puts her in a corner. Because RJ ain't gonna want to have nothing to do with her if she finds out that she kissed Bill. RJ ain't gonna have nothing to do with her. She's definitely not a Spencer at this point, even though she can stay in the house for right now, unless there's another sinister twist with this where Luna tried to do something to him.
I think that might happen.
You know.
But he's not even thinking of RJ.
But the other thing is, who's gonna want to have anything to do with her? Even if it is the sinister twist, she would be out. Because if it finds out that she is the one that got rid of Hollis, got rid of Tom, set her mother up, there's nowhere. She's going to be worse than Sheila at this point for this time period.
She would definitely be like Sheila's apprentice, for sure.
Who now?
Sheila's apprentice, because I mean she would have to catch up with 30 years of like.
That's why I said during this time period. I'm talking about right now. Sheila's doing nothing, and so Luna took out 2 people. If she's the culprit,
and it just creates a lot of questions, and none of them focusing on like this murder mystery. I think it's pretty obvious that it's this girl, for me, that it's this girl who did this, but we still don't know who her daddy is. We still don't know, and for me it questions like what happened that night with Zende. Was she aware that she was with Zende and she's just using like the men's as like an excuse? Like, was she trying to trap men? Because at one point she thought she was pregnant by either which guy, and then she was disappointed that she wasn't. Like it creates a lot of just weird. I don't know. And on top of that, she doesn't interact with anybody else on the show besides who we see.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think they did so many pivots. They didn't know where to go with this girl. And they did so many pivots over the past 8.5 months. It was like, okay, let's see if we can make Finn the father. They pointed to that because he was having, dance parties, and they would drink and all this kind of stuff, and Poppy acting weird. Then they dropped it. Bill was not the father. Then they let it go, and then we had to go through Sugar Sheila. We had to go through Thomas and the breakup and the coming back, and then they brought us back to this whole paternity, making Bill possibility the father, and now not. They don't know what to do. They don't know what direction to take this storyline in with these characters. These two, they don't know what to do with it. They're all over the place.
And it makes me wonder if they're going to keep them on, because they keep talking about the apartment's going to be demolished. So I'm like, so somebody's about to go. And it's only their apartment that's left that's about to be like, come on now.
Yep. D. Spencer wants us to do a poll on the fans in the group. How many folks we got?
We got 109 people.
Okay, cool.
Now we're ready.
All right, for a Wednesday, that's good. We want to do a poll on asking you guys, who do you think the father could be? And you can write down the name in the chat. Tom, Finn, Jack, Bill, or somebody else. Let's see who you guys say, and we'll see what the majority think. If it's Tom, Bill, what is the screen move? Tom, Finn, Jack, Bill, or somebody else. So we'll see. Okay. There you go, D. Spencer. We'll see what the answers are. Oh, geez. Okay. We got 3 fans.
You know what?
Everybody's saying fan, girl.
I honestly, this is what I was thinking of in the beginning, because the way that Poppy looked at that man in that office, that's like seared into my brain. Like, and the fact that they keep bringing up that she was around him when both of his parents were working, and he said he didn't get a chance to spend time with his family, that she was always around him. Like, something had to have happened, or they could have been popping mints or whatever. I don't know. But I agree with you guys.
Wow.
It has to be. This would be a major pivot.
Yeah, a lot of folks are saying it's Finn. I did see, I would say second place would be Tom in this chat. I see some Jacks too.
Yeah, a couple of Jacks. Because we were thinking it could be Jack, but at the same time, we haven't seen this man.
Now, Ruby Boyd says somebody else.
Okay. Who do you think, Ruby? You think it's going to be someone we haven't seen already?
But
no.
Majority say Finn. Wow.
You know, it would be interesting, since they were in San Francisco. Wasn't Storm in San Francisco? Maybe this could be like one of his other children's mothers that he didn't know he had.
Ooh. That's RJ cousin then.
Yeah. I mean, cousins, brothers, sisters is getting on the show here, so it's nothing new.
But they are biological though.
Yeah.
I don't know. They always go with the step dating each other, kind of like, you know what I mean, when with Thomas and Hope, their parents were dating, but they're not biological. But biological, yeah, I don't think they'll cross that line.
I don't know. It's. I'm trying to think who else was in San Francisco, but I agree with you guys. I think that they're trying to do something really off, because that January episode, I remember January 29th and January 30th, the way she looked at that man, that whole dialogue.
Are you talking about Zende?
No. I'm talking about Poppy, Luna, and Finn. That
Oh, okay.
whole
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah, you're right.
That whole dialogue was just off. And then she was really trying to push for her daughter not to know who her father was. And then when she started getting close with Bill, then she's like, okay, then yeah, you're the father. And I found it odd that she had an open DNA test box. So it made me wonder if she was really trying to alter it. And then when Lee's test came back, I think that was the false positive. She was like, okay, I'm going to run with that.
Belinda Hill says, what if Luna has a twin sister who's responsible for all the mystery and she's out for revenge?
But wouldn't Poppy know she had twins?
Well, I mean, how did they throw Mariah into that? Was it mentioned back in the day that Cassie had a twin? I don't think so.
I don't remember that.
Right.
No.
So when Mariah came onto the scene, and I'm trying to remember how they threw that in there with letting Sharon realize that she had a twin daughter. Because I don't remember Cassie being back in the day where Sharon realized that she had a set of twins and the other kid went missing.
Janet said Eric Forrester. I wouldn't put it past that man.
That is hilarious.
Oh my goodness. But a lot of people are saying
Finn.
And I saw a couple of Justins in there. I'm like,
no, I don't know about that one.
I see that. But
yeah,
then that would have a lot of people talking. That would break up Steffi's marriage for sure.
Why would that break up her marriage, you think?
I don't think she would know how to deal with having a grown stepdaughter, for one.
Oh, okay.
And after Poppy finds out that Luna and Bill were kissing, I mean, who's the other man that she can go to?
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering. And even if they did a blood test and come to find out that he was actually the father, now she didn't kiss her father. So I don't know. They're gonna have to give her an exit strategy out of this storyline.
And I think she might be underneath that apartment when it gets demolished. So something's going to happen where it's going to require her to go to the hospital for like a medical condition or like injury. And then Bill's going to be like, okay, she's going to need a transplant, or I don't know. Something's going to have to happen to where they have no choice but to figure out who her real father is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, her character is dispensable. You know, I mean, if Tom is her biological father, he's gone. And now she could be gone. And Poppy probably either she'll end up stuck in jail or she'll just ride off into the sunset trying to deal with the grief of it all.
Right.
So.
Or they could write, and because I saw a couple of people saying like, oh, they don't mind Luna and Bill. They could write, I mean, they just need to really get this paternity thing together, because it's not even a mystery anymore. It's just confusion.
Right.
Like, for a couple of months, they've been pinpointed at Poppy. They didn't give us a hint of who else it could be. Now we get this, and it's leaning more towards Luna. And then I think in the dialogue last week, I think I said this on Friday too, that they said it could be more than one person. I think Poppy said it could be more than one person, which I can't see this 20-year-old girl just carrying it out by herself. Yeah. So there might be another person.
And all I know is they need to wrap this thing up. Now, I understand we're in the midst of a pivot right now because we haven't seen anything of the Luna situation since Monday. Because right now we smack dab into a whole nother catastrophe going on with this whole thing with Steffi, Finn, and Hope.
Yeah.
And, okay, so let me see. Which came first? Okay, so Finn told her off, saying that they, stay away from me, I'm going to be with my wife, blah, 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 blah. He went home to tell Steffi about it. And then Brooke came in to talk about Poppy being in jail, and she was distracted, and then that's when the truth came out about the kids. So let's start with Brooke and Hope first then.
Okay.
This girl is still trying to protect her friendship with Finn after all of this. This man said, I'm going to need you to stay away from me. And she's still trying to protect the friendship and worry about this man.
And her mama, is the way that Brooke was coming after Hope. She was like, I almost thought Brooke was about to slap her.
I know.
She's like, you need to stop it. You need, whatever you're thinking, you need to stop it right now. I was like, okay, Brooke, are we turning into Stephanie? Nice. Okay.
Yeah, but she was yelling after a while. Hope was looking at her like, oh, yeah, because her mama need to put her foot. Somebody need to put their foot down.
Yes, it is. She's like, look, I already told Steffi that we're not going to bother her. She has nothing to worry about. This creates a whole war because she knows this is going. She knows Steffi's going to tell Ridge, and that's going to be a whole other thing. That's why she was trying to water down the excuse that she was making before Taylor heard her.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that Brooke knew all of this, and her daughter still chose to go in that route.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I could understand Brooke being frustrated at her daughter. She's like, look, I warned you. I told you not to be like me. I told you to stay away from her husband. He's not an option. And then Hope just looking like, I didn't know. I'm spiraling. Like, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean it. If Steffi comes at me, I deserve it. Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Every ounce of it.
And you see her trying to say, you know what? I did it. I got to deal with the consequences. I'm like, look at her trying to take accountability.
Barely.
Because
in the same breath, she's saying, like, well, Steffi doesn't deserve her husband. Like, we're a better fit. Like, we're meant to be together. Like, either you're apologetic and you're going to leave this man alone, or are you trying to passively aggressively be passively aggressively? Are you still trying to go after this man?
Yeah. What else was interesting? What she said is that, you know, how Liam was a great man, and Thomas, you know, I had my thing with Thomas, but I've never felt this way about any man like I do with Finn. I'm like, okay, so I guess Thomas is chopped liver now.
And he's only chopped liver because we don't see him right now. Because when he came back, she was all over Thomas. She didn't have not one thought of Finn. Not one. And on top of that, when Thomas was around prior to him leaving in March, and Finn was giving his warnings and his opinions about Hope and Thomas being together, she was like, okay. She was zeroed in on being with that man because he was giving her gratification. He was making her feel good, all of that. She didn't care. She had no thoughts of Finn. That's why...
Bree?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 2 to 3 days prior to Thomas returning. She was fantasizing and having hot breaths and past. Remember, she went into a hole at the house. She took a break from thinking about Finn when Thomas was there, but she was sweating and carrying on. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
That was only because she didn't get any in a long while. But the fact that they wrote in that she had developed feelings for this man, and all we've seen for the most part of the beginning of this year and most of last year, she was wrapped up with Thomas. Like, when did she develop all this like love and feelings for Finn all of a sudden for her to say that she's never felt a love like this before?
Well, remember it started when we were talking about, remember her having her chesticles out at Finn, and when Finn and her was together at the memorial service for Sheila. Remember she had that way low cut, like lingerie, like looking lacy top. And she was sitting there, and we was like, Why is she sitting there like that? I think that was the beginning of all of this, which would have put us back in late March, I think it was, or early
But
April, when the whole thing,
yeah,
when Sugar technically was stabbed by Steffi.
but once again, that's only she's reacting to the fact that Thomas left her, because the dialogue with that was that she was sad that he took Douglas, and that she wanted to continue relationship with him. She talked mostly about Thomas. I think it was the fact that Ben was giving her gratification, giving her compliments, making her feel good. He took the place of Thomas in that role. But I don't think she has any real romantic feelings for this man. I really don't think that. I think,
I think it's a situation of, and she said it herself. Finn is a combination of both Liam and Thomas in her head, because she said, I remember the content. Ooh, I would say back in maybe May or June, when she was talking to her mother, and she was talking about how, I had this with Thomas, but it was this issue. He got a history. And I mean, Liam is a good father and is a good man, but he has a divided heart. So she's looking at the fact that Finn could be a combination of both those men put together. Now, I don't know about the bedroom, because if he can give in the bedroom what Thomas gave, I don't know. We don't know, because we really haven't seen it in 2 years. But in Hope's head, she's thinking that I can get a piece of both those men, because they both had good parts to them, but it just didn't line up with what she was looking for. But she think he was the full package. Remember, she said they were kindred spirits.
I have a hard time even believing that.
I can only go by the, because you can't believe what I'm just going by the dialogue. You know what I'm saying? What they wrote in the script, and that was the way that they had portrayed it. And so, it's going to be interesting to see, because that Friday spoiler for the 23rd is Steffi walking in on something that she really don't want to see. I'm wondering what that is. And in my opinion, I don't think it has anything to do with walking in on Brooke and Ridge again.
Yeah. It probably... They overhyped some of these spoilers. Because they were supposed to do the same thing when she left her passport, and they just had like a little business, like, discussion about her hope for the future that didn't go well, and he was the referee in between that. I feel like they're overhyping so much. Unless like she walks in and sees like Hope and Finn hugging or something, I don't see him making any inch towards her. But I can see her, I guess, continue to spiral and then kiss him again. I don't know.
I don't know. And they said that she's supposed to continue to spiral. And, I don't think this is over. They kept emphasizing in today's episode, I promise this will never happen again. And Finn say, I said it would never happen again. It's going to happen again. And I don't know how. But to me, the way that the direction of how they normally write the stuff, when you profound about your answers, the opposite usually happens.
Yeah, she needs a therapist. No one's suggesting her go sit down and talk with a therapist.
I just think the girl is just hot and horny. She's been this so-called virtuous married woman that they wanted to have her, that she was going to set an example for young girls to follow. And I just think that they tried to make this last year with the Hope Logan character, exploring her sexuality. That was one of the things that was brought up. And part of that was exploring it with Thomas. And I guess to me, because I mean, yeah, she's chasing after people's husbands. I just think she's just horny. I mean, I hate to
I
say it like
agree.
that. I mean, she got it earnest. Her mama, her auntie. I mean, I can't say that much about Katie, but the other two, it's in the family.
Yeah.
And if Luna has seen her mom pop from man to man to man, and look at what she's doing, Hope definitely saw her mom pop from man to man to man, and she's like, maybe I am just like my mother. Remember, she said that a couple times last year and early this year. Maybe I am my
She
mother.
she barely, she fails on all fronts because her whole goal with that little interaction she had with Steffy a few weeks ago, was like, oh, I need to drop you down to size or something like that, or you should get yours. And then she was trying to seduce Finn and do with that. Her focus was to get one over on Steffy. It wasn't even Finn. And Finn even called that out. So
So,
then,
well, I think it's part of it. I still think that she has feelings because she was like, I don't know what to do with these feelings. I can't help myself. I can't help how I feel. So I think part of it is, yeah, she would like to be vindictive and stick it to Steph and chop her down to size. But the other part of it is a bonus, which is her exploring these feelings that she had with him, because the only way that would work, if you're not attracted to somebody, you're not just gonna force yourself on somebody. It's usually you get the ick. It's like, ooh, I don't like him like that.
I
But
mean,
it's easier for her to do that because she's attracted to him.
yeah, I agree with that. It's just, they need to get this girl into some therapy. But you know what? I seriously, I never understood why any of the Logans didn't take any therapy except for Katie, and that didn't last too long. Like, that's the
TP too
direction they
real.
go in.
TP too real says being horny ain't hereditary. I guess in the soap world it could be.
It's genetic. All it's completely genetic. Absolute. I feel it is.
That
Um,
is funny.
I
Um,
just,
yeah.
I don't know. I think we talked about it in the group chat. Isn't Bridget supposed to? Like, didn't she make her way on set
Well, she
recently?
posted a picture yesterday saying that she had a good day at the CBS set in her Instagram story. I did share that in my stories yesterday when she posted it. So I'm wondering if she is filming something, and
Mm.
it coincides with some other things that's going on this week, which I don't know if I want to go there because I do know that the person that's involved in that, she don't play. So I try to watch how I approach things. You know what I mean? You get what I'm
I
saying?
got you.
Yeah, because she don't play with that type. She will come for you, and so you know I want to make sure that everything is actual factual before, because a lot of rumors have been spread because of what has happened, and it's just interesting that all this was in the same 48 hours. So I don't know if this is meaning anything.
It would be. I would be happy to see Bridget. This personally, I can see Finn going to Bridget, and that would definitely. We've never seen Steffi and Bridget have any
Right.
interaction or anything like that. But that would be fun to see. I could see him cheating with Bridget because they have a lot in common
Yeah.
versus him. Oh, I don't. That's just me though.
All right, we got to keep it moving. Okay, so we now have Brooke decided to go tell Ridge about it, and Tay Tay is back. And then I don't know, this whole thing with Taylor and Ridge, there was a whole lot of flirting going on, mostly from Ridge's side.
He flirts with any woman that goes in his direction. He did this with Denise Richards' character. He did this with Quinn's character. I'm sorry, with Rena Sulfur's character as Quinn. Any woman in his vicinity, he'll flirt with. He does not care. This is who he is.
I'm just hoping that they're not bringing this whole triangle back together. That's my thing, cause he was talking about how attractive she was, and I hope you come back to see me and all this old kind of stuff. And I'm like, please, let's don't do this again. Don't do it again. I'm not here for the triangle. I mean, if they want to bring her here to support Steffi with this whole hope situation, okay, fine, whatever. But I don't want to see Brooke and Taylor fighting over Ridge again.
I agree with you, but 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm. And then, especially when Taylor walked in and heard Brooke confessing to the fact that, Hope kiss Finn. She was like, wait a minute, she kissed my daughter's husband? And of course they left us with that. My question is to you, what do you think Ridge is going to, how he's going to react? Because they didn't give us the rest of his reaction. He just looked shocked. But when he finds out that this has been going on for a while, Hope and Brooke knew about it and didn't say anything.
That depends on what Brooke is going to say tomorrow's episode, because she's given a watered down version to Ridge to try to soften the blow and say, like, oh, she was drunk, and then, oh, yeah, she kissed Finn. Not to say that, because she's not going to say, unless she does, my daughter has had feelings for him. She's been trying to fight her urges for him, and I've been telling her to not be attracted to him. Like, that would need to come out of her mouth, which I can't see her doing now that she sees Taylor's in the picture. I think she's going to keep everything watered down because she's not trying to lose her man in the process. But he is going to react the same way Steffi reacts and be like, oh, for Finn, you kissed Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I honestly think he's going to react the same way that Steffi did.
Gotcha. Yep, I agree. All right. Then we gonna swing over to the Cliff House, because after Finn told her, meaning Steffi, that Hope kissed him, she's like, did you kiss Hope? And I'm like, wait a minute, what did you just not hear? That man confessed and said he was just standing there. She pulled him to the side and planted a kiss on him. And she made it as if he was... Now, I know she's upset about the Sheila thing. And I know she's upset about the fact that he's been friends with her nemesis. Okay, fine. But what happened at Eric's party was totally unexpected.
Exactly. And I will admit that I was happy that she did come at this man and with some truth and like, look, I told you to stay away from both of those women. You chose not to do it. And look at what happened with your interaction now with Hope. At the same token, like you guys were saying in the group chat, she's got some kisses that she's keeping to herself too. But
yeah, she's a hypocrite, just like TP2 Real said in the chat.
And what I need for him to do is let this woman know, I took a bullet for you. I have stayed faithful even after you put me in a paternity situation. I've done all of this. I've stayed loyal to you, for you. Even when you left me to go to Europe after me trying to fight for you, I still stayed loyal to you.
Mm-hmm. That girl done left this man 3 times.
Yes. And I'm like, what do you need to take a break for, Steffi? These are kisses. You put this man in worse predicaments and he still stayed with you.
Right. He's
asking to try to work things out, especially with something he didn't even want. And he keeps reiterating, I don't want her. I want my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why she's angry, because it's like he allowed things to happen to this point at the same time.
Hey, quick, TP2 Real also mentioned that he saved her grandfather's life.
Yep. When she was crying, asking about that. Like, Finn, can you do something, please? He has been loyal to her family, everything. For her to question and say, like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. You can't do what? You can't do what exactly? Because he's coming forth with it. He didn't have to say anything.
Nope.
He didn't have to say a word.
Yeah, he still haven't said what happened in the dressing room.
Exactly. He didn't mention that either.
Nope.
So I don't know what we're perceiving.
Yeah, but did she say, don't try to contact me. I'll hear from you. Or she left the baby with him and gonna leave Kelly with Liam. I'm like, girl, over kisses that you had not one but two that you're hiding.
Yeah, she always. And she's really quick about hiding something, whereas he's quick about, no, I need to let my wife know now. The only thing he didn't let her know about is that the failed attempt of seduction. That's pretty much it. But
yeah, well,
he wanted to come forth with her, and that's just, she doesn't see that as a good thing. Like, I don't know. I agree with everybody who's saying that she's being a hypocrite, and I agree with everyone who's saying like she had every right to come at her husband about letting these women in his life and then allowing stuff to happen to him. I do agree with everybody in that regards. It's not going. I don't think these kids are going to change anything. I know some people were saying like, oh, they need to break up. They've been through worser situations than these kisses, and plus he keeps saying he don't want her.
It's time. It's time. I mean, she treats this man like a child, and the thing is that, like you say, he's been through all these different things. I see it in the comments section. They say that he needs to grow some. He needs a backbone. Dude, you are a physician. You're carrying a PhD, and you letting this woman talk to you like a child. I get that she's mad. Hey, she mad. But I told you shouldn't. I told you ain't supposed to. I'm like, first of all, who are you talking to?
I mean,
I don't subscribe to the yelling and screaming at the husbands and wives. I don't like that type of thing. You should be adult enough to have a conversation. If it don't work, then maybe y'all need to go your separate ways. But chastising on the borderline of, we wouldn't want him to be yelling and screaming at her.
Right, I agree. I 100% agree with that. But they both said that they don't want to leave each other.
Well, she do.
No, she said because she said to Hope, like, look, you're not coming between my marriage. You're not going to get with my husband.
Yeah, so you need to stay at home. I mean, you opening the door. Anytime you leave a space, there's an empty space for something to go wrong, and you walking away from your house, your man, and everything like that because you think, I mean, I could see if he did some egregious things. This wasn't even his fault. Now, she could be mad at him about the association or whatnot. That the person that she should have issues with is her.
Right.
Because she was the initiator. She got shot down and she knew what she was doing. So everything that Steph did when she went over to Forrester, which was to chop Hope off at the knees, appropriate. But this right here, he's coming to you saying, look, this is what happened. I wanted to tell you, she crossed the line. You stepped out for a phone call, and in an instant, she pulled me to the side and planted her lips on my face. And then she attached Sheila to the situation and everything else in front of that to this one kiss. When Liam has been coming over to the job, coming over to the house, talking crap about her husband. Now, granted, she said, hey, don't talk about it. I love my husband, blah, blah, blah. But you didn't tell Finn that this man was talking crap about him. or that he was trying to undermine your marriage. Now, some things he knew from the fall of last year, which is why we had that whole little puking interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But does she give that same? She's mad at him hanging around. You interrupted a whole date with Ivy and Liam because you feeling some. That wasn't even your place to do that. You got a whole husband. Why do you care if Liam is kissing another woman?
I agree with that part. Um, and when Finn and Liam had an interaction at his office after Finn told police to arrest Sheila, Finn told Liam, like, hey, my wife told me about the stuff you've been saying behind my back.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the fall. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure did.
No, that was this year.
The arrest of, you talking about which arrest? The one from last year or the one from this year?
About Tom's.
Okay, well, he must have did it twice because they had that conversation when he was looking at that photo of Steffi and Kelly, and Finn walked into his office. That's when the whole little puke thing happened back in November, December of last year. But anyway, she don't need to go nowhere. Like Finn said, we need to stay here and figure this thing out. Her leaving doesn't solve anything.
I agree. And this is where I wish Lee would be motherly to her son, because she can't think that this is a good idea for Steffi to leave. It seems like she's always taking Steffi's side about her leaving her husband. This is not a healthy thing for her to feel she needs to run away from her issues all the time. And the thing is, it's not even Finn. She did this with Wyatt too.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to Liam, she wanted to fight it out, stick it out, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
But this man is full. It seems like the men who are fully committed to her, she can't be around them if they had like any error or fault or like lapse in judgment. Not to say Finn did, except for the fact that he allowed to have a friendship with Hope, knowing how she felt about him. But she has this need to run away all the time, and I'll never understand that.
Well, the interesting thing is she got a man. The most egregious thing that pretty much Finn has done is his connection with Hope and his connection with his mother. He's never cheated. He's never did anything to damage the family in regards to, something crazy monetarily wise, jeopardize his job, her career, anything jeopardizing him hurting their children. The only thing is that she was pissed off is about the connection that he has with those two people. Whereas Steffi, she got a whole different list of things, and that man forgave her each and every freaking time.
Yep.
So, we gotta see, girl. I know we've been on this almost an hour and 45 minutes.
Look,
this is like one of our Friday night chats.
Yeah, and that we'll do a deeper dive
on Friday. Yeah, because tomorrow on the YNR is going to be good, and who knows what that Friday, if that Friday spoiler is not, like you say, cryptic and it's weak. If it's, if Steffi do walk up on something that she didn't like to see, I'm hoping it's Finn and Hope, just to throw this into a crazy tailspin. Because he might... Go ahead.
It would take a lot of effort for him to make a switch like that.
Well, if he's pissed off and say, I'm sick and tired of doing this for this woman and blah, 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 and he start thinking about what Hope was saying, girl, they can easily just flip it into soap. They flipped everything else in 15,000 directions.
Yeah, that's true.
So... all right, you guys, we're going to end it right here. Stay tuned for the live chat on Friday night where the whole crew should be here. We're going to talk the entire week. It's been a very interesting week, especially today's episode on Bold. Oh, my God, that was crazy. And then Monday too with the Bill and Luna thing. How many people in here, girl?
There was 120. I think that was the highest that we got for tonight, but it's been steady. They definitely love bold. I will say that.
That's what I've been noticing. My analytics have really been telling me that this channel gotta be primarily Bold and Beautiful fans. I do have Y&R folks over here, but most of the interaction and the attention that comes here is Bold. But and 58 likes. Thanks, Vicky. Yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. And yeah, stay tuned for the rest of the recaps and spoilers as we head to the end of the week. You got anything else left, Bree, before we go?
No, guys, enjoy the rest of the week. We see you Friday. And Mira, thank you as well. I can't wait to see what Friday's going to show for Bold.
I just hope it don't fake us out to give us that whole crazy spoiler, and then we be like, that's it.
We've seen this writing from Bold, and
yeah,
we're going to be hopeful.
I know, right? I know. All right, thank you, you guys. Have a great night. And until then, we will see you next time. Bye, Soapies.
Bye.